Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So we're going to have a look at a few races that caught my eye over the next few days. There will be another video Friday afternoon stroke evening with more about Saturdays, but there's a couple that I wanted to highlight at this point already, and also one for tomorrow as well. Two for tomorrow, sorry. So the race that I want to look at tomorrow is the Bet365 Handicap. I think there's quite a few of those handicaps this weekend. Bet365 have sponsored a load of heritage handicaps. And I think this is a really, really good race. I think the front four, yeah, the front four from the handicap at York earlier during the season, last month in June, all reoppose here. I think Sixth also runs, well, Sixth does also run. So they were, Quinault was the winner. A head behind was Washington Heights. A length and a quarter behind that was Millstream. Then back and forth was Eminency. In sixth was Redemption Time. And there's a few other form lines that all marry in, including Tough Enough, who is RTR4 there. Tough Enough was beating Eminency and Rocking Ends at Windsor. So the form line, there's plenty of form lines to work on here. And I like two, one with a form line and one that doesn't have a form line, but I wonder whether he's potentially better than these. So we'll start off with the horse with the form line, and that's Eminency. Now, Eminency has now finished third to Quinault and Washington Heights back at Newmarket in May. Fourth was Funny Story, who we highlighted that day, has obviously come out and won a handicap. I think it went off 3-1 nuts price, considering it dropped so low in the grade, and then went back up in class to a listed race and finished fifth. So that race straight away worked out well. I think Funny Story is one that can definitely win another handicap when dropped back to handicap company. The first, second and third that day were Quinault, Washington Heights and Eminency, and they then finished first, second and fourth in the same order at York. Now I'm taking a bit of a chance here, and I'm going for Eminency to be able to reverse the form. Now, at York, he was the first off the bridle out of those three that were all in that, or four that were all in that: Quinault, Washington Heights, Millstream, Eminency, before running on at the finish. Now, obviously, the Newmarket track will certainly suit there, the up and down and the stiff finish, but also they've decided to put cheek pieces on Eminency, and I think that could be key. If that allows him to stay in touch and stay in the race, then when he starts to show his usual strong finish, hopefully he's close enough that actually he's running on past those towards the front of the field. Another thing that certainly caught my eye with Eminency is when he was actually fourth last time. If you watch it closely, Danny Tarto has to stop riding twice late on. And with a clear run, if there was a complete gap for him, I think he would have gone really, really close to winning. He was only beaten a length anyway. But he did have to just stop riding because he couldn't quite find a gap late on. He was also kind of in the middle of the track that day, and I think, you either wanted to be on the far side or the near side. He was in the middle, and I think that was kind of the wrong position for him, and he wasn't unlucky, but I'm hoping that he can show that that all of this good form is true, and he can run another big race. In terms of the handicap mark, so Quinault last time was running off a mark of 85 with a £5 claimer. Washington Heights 90, and Eminency was 87. So Quinault, who was 85 and 5, is now 90 and 5, so is up £5. Washington Heights was running off, what did I say, 90, has gone up to 94, so that's gone up £4. Eminency, who ran off 87, is only up to 88, so is only up £1, so is £3 better off with the second horse Washington Heights, and £4 better off with Quinault. Well, there wasn't £3 and £4 difference in their finishing position, not at all. Similarly, when they ran at when they ran at Newmarket earlier on in the season, there wasn't that much of a difference. What were they rated that day? Quinault was running off 74.80, He was running off 80, so he's now running off 90. He's £10 higher. Washington Heights was running off 89, so is, what's that, £5 higher. Eminency was running off 86, so £2 higher. So again, he's better off with that run as well. I think it's going to be very, very close with those three again, and I'm just hoping that Eminency can keep up a little bit better with these cheek pieces on, and then also those couple of pounds, £3 and £4 better off that he is with those front two. I think he is the one that I'm liking in this race, and he's currently available at 10-1, whereas those two that I think he can reverse the form with are the favourite and third favourite. Let's just refresh that to show you. Yep, 10s and easily available at 10s. The second horse that I am going to have a small bet on as well is Desert Cop, who is available here at 10s and 12s. 12-1 is readily available. And it's this figure definitely catches my eye, this 149.1. And obviously that was second to Shaquille. That's really good form, but he was comfortably beaten. But he also beat some nice horses behind him. The likes of Aesop's Fable, rated 110. Noble Styles, rated 117. They were the next two behind. Two much higher rated horses, and he beat them. Now, I know he disappointed last time, but it was dropping back in trip, which I don't think suited. It was against older horses, which again I think didn't quite suit. I know Bradsell won the race, who was also a 3-year-old. Bradsell had proven himself at Royal Ascot. And I think it was proper Group 1 form there. Bradsell, Highfield Princess, Twilight Calls, and some of those behind are decent horses as well. He didn't run bad for 6th. I just think the drop in trip and against older horses didn't quite work. He dropped back to a handicap. I don't think he's ever run in a handicap. He hasn't. He's never run in a handicap. Harry Davis also takes a very useful £3 off. So he's running here off 102, which I think would give him a good chance. You know, you could say, well, some of his form is suspect. Well, let's have a look at some of that. 4 runs ago, this race here, when he was winning at Newcastle, he was beating Should Have Been a Ring and the XO. Now, the XO is obviously higher rated since, has gone off, okay, it went off 80-1. That was in the Commonwealth Cup, the Group 1 race. And the horse behind Should Have Been a Ring has since finished 5th in a Group 1, 7th in a Group 1, 2nd in a Group 2 behind Little Big Bear, ran a great race, has won a listed race. I mean, the form is actually quite strong from some of Desert Cop's races. You know, I think that bit and the second to Shaquille would give him a really good chance here in a handicap. I think that's very interesting. You generally find these horses are kept in Group 1s because they're trying to get black type. However, obviously he's been gelded, so there's no need for that. They don't need to get group races into him. They can target races that they could actually win with him. And I think this is a great bit of placement, to be honest, for Andrew Balding with Desert Cop. Dropping into a handicap, I think they could certainly go very close here. And we can see that Desert Cop, just go back to it, it's 12-1. So they're my two for this race. They're 10s and 12s, Eminency and Desert Cop. The next race I wanted to talk about was the 150 on Friday. Now, I wanted to talk about this one because I think this horse is overpriced and could well be tipped up by a few people, and then it will obviously shorten in price. Now, this is a declared race. We don't yet have the ratings for it, so I'm showing the BHA website, and we can see who's riding. The horse that catches my eye here, over 1 mile and 2, is Killybegs Warrior, who incredibly is 25-1 in places, 20s, 22s, 25-1 at Ladbrokes, 25-1 at Coral. Let me just refresh the page to show you that that is actually still available, 25s. Now, why does that catch my eye? What's that? Sorry. Why does that catch my eye? So, 3 runs ago, let's go back 4 runs. 4 runs ago, Killybegs Warrior. Let's actually load up the BHA form, see what that looks like. Here we go. 4 runs ago, he was finishing 3rd off a mark of when rated 100, but was running in the Feldon Stakes, which is like a Derby trial. It was over 1 mile and 1, and he went forward, and he just got run down late on by Canberra Legend and Colesai. Now, Colsai has since finished third in Group 3, second in a conditions race behind Cicero's Gift, and is quite a decent, still improving colt. Canberra Legend went on to run in the Dante and then finished fifth recently in a Group 3, not beaten far by Waipiro. Killybegs Warrior after that went to the Dante, I think. Let me just double check. Yeah, Killybegs Warrior then went to run in the Dante, and he finished sixth, not beaten that far, 5 1/4 lengths, when sent off 100 to 1, but when going forward. And I think that's key, because over this trip going forward, his form looks, just short of group class. 2 runs ago, dropped in trip, you can see dropped to a mile for a race at Haydock. They went forward, or they tracked the winner before fading late on. The trip was too short. And then last time out at Royal Ascot, they stepped back up to Group 3 company and they held him up. And that didn't work. He wants a mile and 2 and he wants to go forward. A mile and 2 and going forward in a handicap, I think he's got a really good chance. I think he's better than his price suggests. And I think, on the back of that run at York, he would be a much shorter price. And I think he's had excuses for his last 2 runs. Again, I think this is quite clever placement from Charlie Johnston. I think he's seen a feature handicap, he's seen good prize money and thought, we could win that with a horse that's probably a group horse that could be running a handicap. Dropped down to a mark of 99. I can forgive him his last two runs. And I think he's overpriced at 25s. I would have him more down here at 10s and 9s. On the back of he wants this trip, and that's key for him. Obviously, he's also won at Newmarket, which is great for us. He won on debut here. So, he does like the course. He does handle the course. He's actually won at Newmarket twice, actually. On his 3rd run, he also came back here and won. Before then going to the other Newmarket course and getting beat. But he got beat in a Group 3. Yeah, back into handicap company. This will be his 2nd handicap run, but his 1st one over a proper trip that he wants. And I think that's key for Killybegs Warrior. The final horse that I wanted to talk about, and now actually runs on Saturday, or is due to run on Saturday, does have an entry and does have a jockey booking. And that horse is Brunch, who provisionally booked to ride is Connor Beasley, which is absolutely fine. Connor's ridden him quite a few times, just counting them up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's ridden him 5 times, and I think he can go really well. So why do I think? Well, first of all, I highlighted him back here when he dropped £2 to 101. This was on July the 4th, and I highlighted this handicap over 7 furlongs and 192 yards. Well, what's he running over? 7 furlongs and 192 yards. Where did I suggest that he might run? York, on the 24th of August. Well, they've actually come to this race beforehand, at York, over this trip. I think it's perfect. I think there's plenty to like about him. The last time he ran in a handicap at York, this was it here. He was being beaten by Cruyff Turn, but he got beat off a mark of 104 that day. He's now only rated, as we highlighted here, 101. So the last time he ran in a handicap, he was 2nd off 104. He could turn up £3 lower. So what price is he? Bonkers. Sky Bet going 25. If you've got a Sky Bet account, 25s I think is a massive price. When he went off 104 and finished 2nd, he went off 11 to 2. He doesn't have any other entries. I'm pretty confident that he is going to run here. If we have a look at his previous run when he was 2nd, he was 2nd off 101, beaten a neck. He went off 7 to 2 that day. So off 104, he goes off 11 to 2. Off 101, he goes off 7 to 2. He's currently available at 25s at Sky Bet. Even the 14s, I think, is too big. I think he'll end up going off 7s, 6s. That sort of price for this race. I think he's really well handicapped, and I really wanted to show this one now before, the handicap experts, etc., and the pundits from Sporting Life, etc., tip him up, and he gets absolutely smashed up. So there's a few there that I'm interested in. Tomorrow, I like Eminency at 10s and Desert Cop at 12s. Eminency, if the cheap pieces keep him in touch, And Desert Cop, I think this is an easier race than, it's definitely an easier race than last time, and I think he's been well placed because he's a gelding. Killybegs Warrior on Friday at 25s, because the trip I think will really suit him, and hopefully Kevin Stock goes forward on him. And one that I like on Saturday that I thought I'd highlight now, because he's way too big a price at 25s, and even 14s is a good price, is Brunch, who's £3 lower than when he finished second, beaten by, what was he beaten? A head. And he's off the same weight when beaten by a neck, when sent off 7-2 and 11-2, not 25s and 14s. So there's a few. I will be back with another video when we get more. There might be more for Friday, and there'll definitely be more for Saturday. I've got a few that I've written down that I'm interested in. Just have to see if they are declared.